YouTube, what is going on, y'all? Your dude Sly here, back at it with another pre-E3 update video. And once again, we're talking about console news. Now, some pretty major developments have been stirring here recently. And even though I consider myself like an Xbox and PC or Windows player, I'm a gamer, right? Flat out, no matter the platform. And with these next generation consoles breaking boundaries on what is normally considered a console video game platform, I'm excited to see the tech for both sides. In a recent video, I highlighted what we knew about the two consoles so far, what we knew going into E3. Now, to be fair, 80% of that video was speculation and rumors from industry insiders, like I mentioned in that video. The only solid news that was 100% for certain came from an interview with Microsoft+Sony, who was the PlayStation architect for both the old PS4 and upcoming next-gen PS5. However, I do feel pretty confident that most of the information in there is fairly correct. Of course, not 100% correct, but I think it's going to be close regardless. And within the past day, we actually get a glimpse of the parity this new generation will bring when compared to the current gen platforms. A couple of quick videos were uploaded earlier today as teasers to the differences between the already fairly fast PS4 Pro and the upcoming PS5. It shows the streets of New York in the Spider-Man universe. Now guys, watch the difference between these two. It is absolutely amazing. That is an absolutely massive difference, and this is the very first time we've seen anything PS5 related being played or at least being shown off in any kind of performance way. It loads an entire Spider-Man level in under a second, and it can get through all of it super fast without having to skip or preload, while the PS4 Pro almost takes 9 seconds to load the level, and then even once you start moving at speed, you have to wait and even load a few more times just to catch up. Loading a level is one thing, but moving through all of that level at speeds as fast as what you see here, I mean, that is a completely different story. In games, especially console titles, things around corners, objects behind you, they disappear completely or are de-resed down to like bare bone outlines. The game really only exists in the direction that you're looking towards. If one object is, say, in front of another, the object that's behind the part that you cannot see will be de-resed, or it'll actually disappear completely to save on resources. It'll only actually reappear when it comes back into view. So basically the game you're playing is really only what you see in front of you. Everything else doesn't really exist. It does in some way, but it's not the game that you actually see. Those are the tricks that developers have to use on consoles in order to work around these massive limitations. Memory speed, hard drive speed, processing speed. There just wasn't enough horsepower to do what the next-gen PS5 is doing right here, which is, I think, pretty incredible, especially if it keeps it in a decent price point. So now think about what we just learned and then crank up the speed. You're seeing much more than usual at a much faster pace, and you're leaving behind just as quickly. So the console has to bring everything into the game, make it look good, all the physics of programs, etc., only so that it can fly by you in a split second. Then it has to take all that stuff away and de-res it and then get ready for the next area. And since you're moving so fast, it now has to load all that stuff in at an even faster pace just to keep up with you. And as you can see, the PS4 Pro struggles substantially. Now, if we would see this compared to the base PS4, it would be 3 times worse than this, as it has about 3 times less compute power. Not to mention memory and hard drive times are slower as well. This is also why Anthem was considered mind-blowing at first, because flying could not be done on console games, or console platforms I should say, due to these restrictions, especially a game that looked as good as Anthem. I mean, it is really incredible that they got it to work in the first place, especially on base Xbox and base PS4 consoles. But now with the next-gen consoles boasting top-of-the-line PC tech, it's going to be a massive leap for console players. Now, if you've ever played Destiny on the original Xbox or the original PS4 and then moved over to a PC with like a GTX 1080 or an RTX card while using an SSD or even an M.2 NVMe SSD, then it's like playing an entirely brand new game. I mean, this right here is just one example of the types of differences you're going to be seeing here. Now, this right here is Destiny 2, fast traveling from the annex part of the tower over to the main area. The PC is on your right, Xbox on the left. Look at the difference in load times here, guys, not to mention textures and frames. This all has to do with accessing game information as fast as possible and then putting it all together as fast as possible. And PS5 Microsoft+Sony has confirmed that it will come with a top-of-the-line SSD that's faster than what you can buy today. So I'm not quite sure what he means by that, because the M.2 SSDs that we have today are insanely fast, especially the Samsung and Intel Optane variants. But either way, I'm excited for the future of console gaming no matter where it goes. In other news though, Microsoft and Sony are putting aside the console war and looking towards the future. In a surprise move, Sony has partnered with Microsoft to host some of its future cloud gaming networks as well as other cloud-based future projects. The problem with this is that while Sony's top brass made the move, Sony and PlayStation are kind of almost two different companies. The PlayStation team is basically a subdivision of Sony, and according to recent news, the entire team wasn't even aware such negotiations were taking place. It came as such a shock that managers actually had to calm down the workers who've been working year over year to develop Sony's future game streaming platform and next-gen networking. The deal hasn't been fully described, at least not yet, just that Sony's partnering up with Microsoft to gain access to its Azure cloud computing network. Just about every major tech giant in the world is investing and moving over to cloud computing, and if you aren't spending billions to develop this new important infrastructure, then your company will be left behind. It could be that Sony simply got started a little too late and it's now in catch-up mode. What this means, could be anything. Could be the start of crossplay through game streaming. Who knows, but seeing the two play nice and actually work out a deal when the prior deal with Sony and Amazon fell through, that's actually nice to see. Amazon is yet another giant working on game streaming through the cloud, and Sony originally wanted to partner up with them before it went to Microsoft. However, they both could not reach an agreement. So of course, we have the story we have now. Sony went over to Microsoft. However, I do think it's an important step that they did partner with Microsoft, as they will see they have more in common than just consoles. But that is about it, my fellow gamers. Hope you enjoyed it, and stick around for more next generation Xbox and PS5 news. Now, I'm going to be going to EA Play and E3 this year, and hopefully, fingers freaking crossed, and if there are any Microsoft employees out there, help me out here. Hopefully, I can get into the Microsoft conference and see everything for myself. I didn't know I was actually going until like 2 weeks ago, and so by that time, registration was already closed, so that's kind of sad. Also, on top of that, AMD Next Horizon Showcase will be going on June 10th as well, in which we'll probably see some pretty awesome gaming tech making its way into the market, which will be the 7nm technology found within these next generation of consoles in the form of new GPUs and CPUs. So that's how high-tech these next generation of platforms, console platforms will be. The technology isn't even currently available at the time of this video uploading, and by the time the consoles do come to market, all of the drivers will have matured, bugs worked out, etc. And that means even more performance and much more reliability. So get excited, ladies and gents, because PC gaming finally coming to console. Hope you stick around for my E3 videos, and as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe for more gaming, tech, and E3 videos. Spank the thumbs up, but only if you enjoyed yourself. And comment down below if you plan on switching over as soon as the next PS5 or Xbox debuts, or if you plan on waiting, or if you plan on going to PC. Take care, y'all, and keep those eyes peeled for more videos, including those about Anthem, Star Wars, Jedi Fallen Order, Cyberpunk, Dragon Age 4, and much, much more. But until then, this is your dude Sly, and I'll catch you all next time.